In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your meta ads way more effective, much more profitable, which will allow you to generate more leads and enroll more clients into your health coaching business. So if you're sick and tired of the organic and you want a better way to run meta ads without losing your shirt, watch this. Hey guys, what's going on? Uriel Kim here, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur, New York Times bestselling author. And over the past 20 years, I've been helping folks like you, amazing health experts and coaches, build 7- and 8-figure businesses. Well, notably, I did it for myself, and I've obviously helped thousands of others do the same. Now, a large part of our growth with Healthpreneur has been advertising-based. Started the company in 2017. I went from 0 to $1 million in 7 weeks, largely with our Perfect Client Pipeline, which is kind of on the back end of a traffic source, in our case, mostly advertising. We teach ads to our clients on a daily basis. Our average client sees a 314% return on their ad spend. And so what I'm sharing with you here has not only helped us have 84 consecutive months of positive ROAS or ROI, if you will, on our ads within 30 days, but also helps all of our clients who are all health experts, not professional media buyers. So what I'm sharing with you here, I think can make a big difference. And I'm going to share something that is probably not really talked about on YouTube that I see a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of other videos out there that are fine for, how to set up your campaigns, what buttons to push. To be honest, that's 10% of the game. Tony Robbins famously talks about, I'll just draw this out, so success is 20% strategy and 80% psychology. And it's very much the same with advertising. Think of strategy as, campaign structure, the buttons you're going to push. Are we going to turn on Advantage Plus, all that kind of stuff. What I'm talking about here is the psychology. And I tell my clients all the time, don't worry about the technology. Focus on the psychology. The technology is easy. Whether this is Meta or Feta, not the cheese, but whatever the next social platform is going to be, there's going to be another platform eventually, right? The principles are the same. And if you understand how to get people to take action and influence them, in addition to understanding the basics of how to run a campaign in the platform itself, you're going to be way further ahead. So I'm going to share what we do here. I think it'll make a big difference for you. So let's just quickly go over. I'm just drawing some stuff out on the iPad here. So campaign structure. So we have a campaign. Now, in our case, we run a process called the reverse scaling method. The reverse scaling method basically says, instead of slowly scaling up, we're going to start at scale and prune backwards. And it's worked incredibly effective for us and our clients, allows us to scale faster, allows us to get through those ceilings where, like when I was running my own ads many years ago, when we started, I got to the ceiling of $100K a month in ad spend, and I couldn't get beyond that doing kind of the process we were doing at the time. Worked with 3 ad agencies, invested more than $550,000 a month of retainers. They still couldn't get better results. Brought everything back in-house. We just started to throw everything out the window and try everything almost in opposite of what we had done. And that's where this all was birthed out of. And we call this the reverse scaling method. And by the way, if you want to learn more about that, we have a link below in the description. You can check out a private workshop where I walk you through the whole process our clients use. Might be of interest to you. Okay, so the campaign in our case is going to be built around an ad copy. Now, again, what I'm sharing with you here is very different than what you've probably seen before. You see, media buyers talk about, we have a testing campaign and a scaling campaign. I'm like, no, we just have the campaign is the ad copy in our case. So the ad set level is similar. So the ad set will be here. And like almost always, the ad sets are going to be where the audiences are determined. So if you're going broad, if you're going very specific interests, if you lookalikes or anything like that, that's going to be at the ad set level. Now, in our case, we pretty much do all of our budget at the ad set level. So we're running ABO. I'm not a huge fan of CBO for the most part. So then we have a number of ads, right? So we have, in our case, typically 4 ads in an ad set. So here's the thing is, you have to be very careful of not over saturating your ad set with too many ads. The sweet spot is 3 to 5. So we shoot for about 4, and I'll walk you through what that looks like in a second. And the reason we do this is because, let's just look at some math here. Let's say that you have a budget of $100 a day, and you're setting that at the ad set level. Now, let's say that you have a coaching business and you're in the general health space. You're going to get leads, in the neighborhood of, let's just call it $5. Okay. So you've got a $5 CPL, and you're probably going to book calls. If you're working, if you have a perfect client pipeline, you're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood. Let's just call it $150 for a call booked. Cost per call booked. Okay, so those are the basic premise here. Now, what Facebook ideally wants to see, and this has changed a little bit, but it's still a good rule of thumb, is for any given conversion. So if you are setting up your campaign with the objective of leads, okay, so you're optimizing for leads as an example, Facebook wants to see that you're able to produce 50 conversions in a 7-day period. So if we look at the math here, so if we took 7 times 100 per day is $700, right? $700 divided by $5 cost per lead is whatever that is, 120, 130 leads, right? But that is going to be spread across the ads that are running within the ad set. So I'll just use the blue marker here to denote how much ad spend each ad might have, just very arbitrarily, because you're never going to have 4 ads that have the exact same amount of ad spend. It's not 25, 25, 25. It's going to look like this. Like this one will have a lot of ad spend. This one will have a little. This one will have a lot. This one might have medium amounts. So it's going to have varying amounts. And the key here is which of these ads can produce the volume of conversions in that 7-day period relative to the budget you have. So the challenge when you add more ads in an ad set, like if I added 5, 6, 7, 8 on the same $100, I'm now diluting my budget and I can't get enough conversions for the amount of budget that I've allotted to this ad set. That means you're going to be in learning limited, which basically means Facebook can't learn fast enough. So it's going to give you that learning limited warning, if you will. And so how do we get around that? Well, we have to either increase the budget or we have to decrease the number of ad creatives or ad variations in the ad set so each ad gets more juice. I hope that makes sense. So just as a starting point, just kind of like understand that conceptually, because that's going to be important for what I talk about. So I like to keep it at 4 ads. Okay, regardless of what your budget is, I think 4 is good because it gives you enough bandwidth or enough, I guess bandwidth is fine, bandwidth to kind of figure out if the budget is going to produce the conversions you want. And also it gives you enough variety where you can start to notice patterns. Now, what we have to do at the ad level, so this is at the ad level, we have to isolate for one variable. And that one variable can be determined by whatever you want. Now, typically when we're starting with a client, we will typically, it'll be the same ad copy. So remember up here, campaign, that's going to determine the messaging for the whole campaign. So all of these ads will have, let's call this ad copy 1. All of the ads that are running down here in this campaign, regardless of which ad set they're in, because if we have 1 ad set or 2 ad sets or 3 ad sets, they're still in the main campaign of ad copy 1. So this is going to be ad copy 1, ad copy 1, ad copy 1, ad copy 1. They all have the same words in the ad, okay? Instead, what we focus on is what's going to be the variable that we're going to test. It's going to be the image. I'm a big believer in starting with image as opposed to video as your creative. Video, video ads do produce, I believe in my experience, have produced the best results. But until you've narrowed down what message is going to land, you're going to spin your wheels trying to create videos that are not going to do well, maybe. Especially if you're not that comfortable in video. Like I love doing video. It's a lot easier for me. Now, obviously, I've been doing it for 20 years, but if it's just so much easier to find an image and just put it in there because the image has there are less things that can go wrong. So what we want to do here is I'll just use letters in this case. We'll have image A, image B, image C, image D. So now we have the same ad copy and the variable that we're testing is going to be for the image. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to think about, okay, well, what is the messaging that we think is going to do well? That's going to be the ad copy. They all have the same ad copy. We're looking at images that are going to be related to that message in some way, shape, or form. Couple rules of thumb for images: make it look native. Don't make it look like an ad. Like if you would not post this natively on your own personal Facebook profile, probably don't use it as an image for an ad. Close-ups, whites of the eyes, smiling, or depicting the end result that your clients are looking for are all good things you want to have in an image. And the final thing is contrast, right? Bright colors or even black and white, something that's going to stand out in the feed. Those are generally best practices, but again, you just have to test. So what we're looking at is when we're running these variations, we have 4 ads, it's the same ad, different images. And what we're going to see is like, well, you know what? This one didn't perform well. This one didn't perform well. Like it's out of KPI, like if you're paying too much for a click or a lead or whatever your metrics are. And then you have 2 that are going to do most of the heavy lifting. So now that $100 a day, instead of being across 4, is going to be put into 2. And so now the 2 start moving a lot faster because they have $100 together as opposed to $100 across 4. Make sense? So that is the basic campaign structure of how we do things. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifics of how we reverse scale here. If you want to learn that, it's in the Meta Ads workshop at the link below. But what I will say is that the challenge is when you start at a small budget, let's say you started like a $10 a day budget, which is way too low. You have to know what your cost to acquire a client is, your cost per lead, cost per call book, cost to acquire a client, and then back into that. Because if we're looking at $5 a lead or $150 a call booked, and you start at $10 a day at the ad set, that's $10 across 4 ads. Like how on earth are you gonna get enough traction? Even if you do let it run for a week, you turn off 2 that are outside of KPI that just didn't perform well, you now have 2 ads that are doing really well. You're like, oh my God, let's go. Let's give them some juice. Well, here's the problem. How you scale vertically in terms of, when I say vertically, I mean adding budget on Meta is you simply add 10 to 20% more budget every other day. So just do the math on this. And a really simple rule is the rule of 72, okay? So let's say that you start at $10 per day, and you're going to add 20% every 2 days. Okay, so based on that type of process, if you do 72 divided by 20, that is going to be 3.5, let's call it. It's going to take 3.5 of those 20% increases. So 3.5 of these to double your ad spend. So the rule of 72 basically says you take 72, you divide it by the percentage. That's the number of incremental increases in budget here or days or whatever it is, whatever we're testing to double, right? So it takes 3.5, but again, we're doing every other day. So 3.5 times 2 is 7. So in this case, it's actually 7 days, and I hope you're following with me here. 7 days to go from $10 a day to $20 a day. Okay, so you can see like it takes a week just to go from $10 to 20. So then you repeat the math again, and you can tell it's going to take a while to get to scale. So in our case, what we do is we start at budgets that are way higher. So like in our business, as an example, our numbers are, business to business. So our numbers are more than the general average consumer. So we're not paying $5 a lead. We're paying more than that. So we'll start an ad set like $5,000 a day, which sounds like fucking crazy. But if you know how to turn things off at the right checkpoints, what happens is, if we go back to these 4 ads, if I'm starting at $5,000 a day, okay, and I turn off 2 ads that are out of KPI, I know my checkpoint, so I'm not wasting money. I just turn things off when they've hit a KPI, and I'm like, nope, it's not performing. We turned off. Now I have 1 or 2 ads, and $5,000 is on those 1 or 2 ads that's performing well. And so that's how you're able to scale so much faster, because you're already at scale and you just prune away what's not working. I don't understand. Well, I mean, listen, whatever. I mean, no one does this, right? Nobody does this. I'm telling you, we worked with 3 of the biggest ad agencies in the coaching space, and it was so frustrating because they couldn't even get beyond the scale that we were at of 100,000 a month, right? It was incremental, but it wasn't massive improvements. When we brought everything back in-house, tossed out that old kind of archaic playbook, and just started challenging the status quo, I said, well, what if we started at scale and just started like a block of marble, just chisel away at it, right? So we decreased our cost to acquire a client by 65%. Like, just imagine you're paying X for a client and just chop that in half. That's what happened in our business. So because of that, we were able to triple our ad spend in the space of about 45 days. So you can probably guess how frustrating and how much I wish I had reversed the clock several years to know this before spending $500,000 in ad retainers and lost time. But anyways, I'm sharing this with you because no one else talks about this, and it's dangerously effective, and you have no added risk. You could start your ad set at $1 million a day. It doesn't matter, as long as you know when to cut things off. That's the first thing. Campaign setup, just rough idea around this thinking through campaign structure, understanding the margins you have to play with based on your own metrics. So we talk about creative testing, right? So the same ad copy and testing different ads. There's one more thing that we did earlier this year that made a huge difference. And let me show you what that looks like. Hey, we'll get back to the video in just a moment, but if you're enjoying this content, hit that subscribe button below. It will help me sleep a lot better at night. But more importantly for you, it'll help you build your dream a lot faster. So go ahead, subscribe, and we'll get back to the show. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you here is, this is actually a Google Doc that we write all of our ads in. Now, just a really important disclaimer here. I write every single word in every ad that we have ever run since the beginning of time. Now, obviously, we've had directors of marketing and copywriters that have come and gone in our business, and they have contributed to that. But for the most part, 95% of the ads that you have seen of ours or have not seen of ours, I have written every single one of them. And I believe that this is the one thing you cannot outsource in your business, is your voice, your message, this kind of founder-led content that only you know. But what I'm going to share with you here is something that we, for whatever reason, were not doing up until earlier this year. So here you can see, this is one of our ads, the missing link to getting more clients. Now, previously, the ad would basically start off with the first sentence, which is the lead in or the hook if you want. It's no surprise that we're in a trust recession. That means that it's harder than ever to get clients to work with you if you're still relying on outdated tactics like hoping for referrals or spending hours a day creating content, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So let's say that was version 1.0. That was like ad copy 1, if you will. I don't know why, again, I'm a little bit of a slow learner sometimes. So I thought to myself, okay, hold on. So if the headline of a landing page is 80% of the equation, if the first 3 seconds of a video are pretty much everything, if the image, the creative in an ad is 70% of the performance of the ad. And also, if we look at the desktop and mobile version of any ad, it's the first 2 sentences and then see more, ... I thought to myself, maybe we should put a little bit more emphasis on the first 1 or 2 sentences. Yeah, took me a moment to think about that. So instead of it just being, it's no surprise that we're in a trust recession, let's just say that was like the first sentence of the ad. What we started doing was, for every ad we wrote, I'd come up with 5 different ways to start the ad. So here you can see we have hook 1, hook 2, hook 3, hook 4, hook 5. So hook 1, no one trusts you. And in today's market, that's why so many health coaches struggle to enroll clients. And then it would go into, it's no surprise that we're in a trust recession, ... Hook number 2, no one trusts you and it's hurting your health coaching business. And then it would go into the main copy, right? It's no surprise that ... So we had 5 different ways of starting this ad. So what does that mean? Okay, so let me go back to our drawing here. So there's a couple ways of skinning a cat here. Now, I talked about, we'll go to the ad level. So we're at the ad level where we're making the variations. We're testing same ad copy across or against different images as an example. Here, if we have those 4 images, right? We have, A, B, C, and D. Well, instead of just having one ad copy, what this allowed us to do now is we know that the more we test, the more we'll find winners. And so what we started to do was we said, okay, well, if the campaign was ad copy 1, now it was ad copy 1, hook 1. Okay. So now we have a campaign, and we'll just, for the sake of just simplicity, we'll call this $100 a day. And then at the ad level or the ad set, we'll just say broad, right? Broad audience. And now we have the 4 variations, right? So we have ad copy 1, hook 1, image A, ad copy 1, hook 1, image B. So we're still testing the images, but against one specific hook with the ad copy. So I thought to myself, well, let's just not stop there. Let's repeat this and do this for every single hook that we have. What we did was, instead of having one campaign with 4 image variations, now we had 5 campaigns with 4 image variations that were all the same. So stick with me for a second. We have one ad copy, right? Ad copy 1. We wrote 5 different hooks for the same ad copy. Now, based on how we set things up, that means 5 separate campaigns. $100, $100, $100, $100, $100. Each of those campaigns had, the only difference was the hook. Same ad copy 1, hook 1. Second campaign, ad copy 1, hook 2. Same images. And what was amazing, the problem that we ran into was we actually found too many winners in some cases relative to the budget. So what might happen is that you might have these 5 campaigns or 4 campaigns or 3 campaigns, depending on how many hooks you want to run. And again, this is a little more of an advanced strategy, so don't worry if you don't need to do this. But I'm just sharing this really cool aha for us was, again, instead of just having 4, here's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, I'm just going to schematically just draw this. So if this were all of the ads we were running, previously it was just, 4 variations of images based on one ad copy. But now, because we had, so this would be hook 1, this would be hook 2. So again, we had 4 variations of images. We have hook 3, 4 variations of images. Hook 4, 4 images. Hook 5. Hopefully you get my drift, right? So 4 images, hook 5. Okay, so I'll just keep this as wherever. So now what happens is, okay, let's just say this one didn't work, 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 this one didn't work. None of these worked. That one didn't work. But what you'll notice, if you're a smart cat, which I'm sure you are, is that we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5, we have 6, we have 7, we have 8. We have 8 winning ads instead of just 1. If we only did 1 ad copy with the 1 hook. I'm sharing this with you because this is a bit more of an advanced scaling strategy, which makes a hell of a lot of sense when you're using the reverse scaling method. Well, I'll give you an example. So one of our clients, Ryan, he went from, when he started with us, we just assume everyone's at 0, right? No matter what they're coming in with, 0 to $358,000 per month in 4 months. He's a functional medicine practitioner. People are like, there's no way he's scamming people, whatever. But no. Like, it's just, you don't understand. Like, your business can grow so friggin' fast when you have this type of leverage, because just with this one little addition here, you can find so many more winners. And then the only thing you have to think about is, okay, like, can I actually take on this many calls? Can I enroll this many clients to keep up with the demand that this generates? So the only downside is that you're just testing more stuff a little bit faster. But again, if you know these cutoff points, you can turn off any ads that are not working. The upside, which can also be a bit of a challenge, is you start having your budget, like you have a higher budget because it's now spread across 5 different campaigns, and now it's a little bit spread out. It's like, oh shit, like, okay, we've got 5 campaigns, they're all at 100 each. They all have winning ads somewhere in there. Like, so which one do we scale? And so this becomes a bit of a predicament. It's like, how do you allocate resources? Because if you just had 1 campaign, then you could put, instead of 500 across 5, right, 100 each, you could have 1 campaign with 500 in there. But the challenge is if you just put all your eggs in one basket, it may not work, and then you have to do some other stuff anyways. So this is part of the fun of media buying, is it's really, I like to think of it as like you put on the detective hat and the investor hat, and you start to look at this almost like a resource allocator. How do I allocate resources where appropriate to get the maximum bang for my buck? So this second strategy here, or the second nuance, if you will, has made a really awesome difference, at least in our campaigns and the way we structure them. It's a little bit advanced. Like, I'm not saying you should do this if you're, a little bit more risk averse with spending money. But if you're someone like me who wants results tomorrow or yesterday, this will get you the fastest results possible, as long as you know when to cut off ads that are not working, right? Major disclaimer here. If you do this type of stuff and you don't have very specific cutoff points, you will lose a lot of money. And that's why I don't recommend people run ads without proper guidance, right? Like my whole team, when we understand this stuff, we coach our clients on this type of strategy on a daily basis. Not necessarily this one here, it's a little more advanced, in some cases, but definitely like even at a basic level, just understanding how to understand your numbers, how to track everything, how to make decisions based on the numbers and the constraints. And this is something that we do inside of our HBA coaching program with all of our clients. And remember, our clients are therapists, medical doctors, health coaches. They're not media buyers, but you can do all of this in about 10 minutes a day. It's very, very simple. What is more important though, is the messaging. So what I just showed you there in terms of the ad copy and the hooks, all the campaign structure stuff is great. But if your ad copy, if your messaging, if your offers suck, none of this stuff is going to work. And that's one of the most important things that we help our clients with, so they understand how to articulate their ideas, how to communicate in a way that moves people to action. And that's how you get better results with your meta ads. It's not just the campaign structure, it's the messaging, and it's also the psychology of how to organize this in a way that when you do have winners, you don't have to slowly, methodically, eventually get them to scale. You're already at scale. And so your results become so much faster. And when I say results, what I mean is way more leads, more calls booked, and giving you the opportunity to enroll more clients, bring in more revenue. All that revenue just feeds right back into paying for your ads. So you're never having to use cash, which is awesome. And you do that so much faster with this type of methodology. So anyways, I hope this has found you well. If you're someone who's running meta ads and you want a little bit of a deeper dive, check out our meta ads workshop, where I go in depth for about 2.5 hours around our reverse scaling method. And I get into the very specific nuances to show you how to build it out in your ads manager, in your business, in a way that makes a lot of sense. It's specific for coaching businesses. So if you're e-com, I don't know if it'll make sense because that's not our jam. But if you're selling higher ticket coaching, it's definitely up your alley. So link is below. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video. If you like this kind of stuff, be sure to watch the next video where I'll walk you through our $1 million health coaching roadmap. If you're a health expert, coach, or therapist who wants to grow $1 million plus business without the grind or guesswork, you're going to want to check that out. We have a free scorecard where you can audit your business, and then I'll show you exactly how to fill the gaps to improve your score and thus the impact you're creating, the money you're making, and the freedom you're living with.